Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Donna Feazell, and I'm your host of Donna's Edge television, radio, and podcast talk show. Thank you so much for watching every day, Monday through Friday. I know you could be doing anything else, but you are watching us, and we definitely appreciate that. You can find us on television. We are on Abundant Television, found on Roku, Apple TV, and Amazon Fire. Don't forget the podcast on thenewscasters.com. On the radio, you can find us on WZLA, it's the biggest country radio station in South Carolina, and all social media sites. Continue sending email, Donna@DonnasEdge.com, Donna@DonnasEdge.com. So I have Julia Christine with me right now. We had a segment a couple weeks ago, and boy, we really got into it, so we didn't get to any of the email that was sent. But there was something I thought about too, and it's when you were on the last segment. And so I wanted to cap it off this way. So a really good friend had two really good friends, two total different personalities. So we were having, it's like a bridal shower for somebody or something. I don't remember what it was. But anyway, both of the women were there. So one woman said, she gets me off the corner and said, I just don't like her. She just looks mean. And I said, she's one of the kindest people you'll ever meet. I said, what about her makes you think she's mean? And she said, I don't know. It's just the way she looks. And then I thought about it. She wore heavy eyebrow pencil. And it made her look, if you thought about it, if you didn't really know her, you would think, ooh, it's just the way she wore the eyebrow pencil. It almost had this look like that almost.
Right.
With the eyebrows. And I said, don't look at her eyebrows and just look at her. You're going to see a total different human being. And she did. Now they're friends.
Right.
Say she made the wrong assumption based on eyebrow pencil.
Absolutely. You know me, my hair is usually up in a mohawk. I have tattoos all over my body. I have piercings. I have all of these things. And I remember a woman, she was a friend of a friend, and she was kind of forced to hang out with me because she was staying with my friend and I was there helping with a party. And she came up to me at the end of it and she was about to go home back to Georgia. And she was like, I got to tell you, I did not want to I did not want to get to know you when I met you. And I was like, oh, sorry about that. That's unfortunate for you. You know what I mean? There's nothing I can do about that. And she goes, you might want to consider changing your hair. And I looked at her and I go, why? And she goes, because it's off-putting, because you're so intimidating, because you have tattoos and piercings and your hair's like that. And she's like, it makes people want to stay away from you. And I think that there's something to remember. And I looked at her and I said, that would have been your loss if you had judged me by your preconceived ideas of what those things mean. And that's true when we look at the color of our skin, the different religions, the different political backgrounds. If you are going to assume something about somebody, you're the one missing out. And I said, I'm really glad that you got over that, because now now we did have a really good time. And you can tell that I'm not what you think or what preconceived ideas would lead you to believe. That whole don't judge a book by its cover kind of thing. The outside of a person doesn't necessarily, if that woman didn't know how to do her makeup, she's doing the best she could. And it, you know what I mean? If that's how you're going to, and then as the person that was reflected by, remember that you aren't intimidating. People are intimidated. There's a difference.
Sometimes it's based on somebody, maybe somebody looks like their aunt they used to be afraid of. Sometimes that's what it is. So I used to be in the headhunting business. I've loved every career I've ever had. This was a fun job. I would help people find jobs, management, nurses, doctors, whatever. And so a lady was looking for a person to basically be over her apartments and, manage those, manage the crew, manage everything. Right. And so this guy comes along and he had done that exactly in another state. His wife was military, so they moved to the area we were in. And she said, this guy was it. I mean, he's perfect. And so he goes on the interview and she goes, I don't know. And I said, what do you mean? I said, he's perfect. He will take the money you're offering.
Right.
I said, and he has done this. And I said, all of his reference checked out. Perfect. He's happily married. So you don't have to worry about any of that stuff. And she said, so I kept calling. I said, you just got to tell me what it is so I can know to send another person that doesn't have whatever it is.
Right.
And she said, okay, I'm just going to tell you, he looks like my ex. And I'm like, he looks like your ex. I said, well, I can't fix that. I said, I mean, there's nothing I can do about that. But everything else is just that.
Right.
She didn't hire the guy. And I'm just telling you, the guy would have been her business. He would have relieved so much stress from her life if she had hired him.
And that is the thing that sucks, is that she missed out. She missed out because she couldn't get over that one thing. And like you got to remember that he wasn't your ex, and he's not your ex. So you can release that. That's a you thing. You can release those types of hangups, and you really truly can. And, if you have that much bitterness towards your ex, that's something to look at because here's the thing about holding on to grievances and being angry at people and holding on to hurt really is what it is. You're only hurting yourself. You're only limiting yourself. You holding on to that and hating the other person doesn't affect the other person at all. They don't even know. They don't even know that you haven't forgiven them. They don't even know that you're angry with them. Like, you're only hurting yourself. And this went double for this woman because she hurt herself regularly by holding on to that hurt and holding on to that hate. But she also hurt herself by missing out on an amazing candidate that would have turned her business around. You know what I mean? Like, so it's just another kind of note and encouragement that you don't have to hold on. I want you to experience your feelings. I want you to feel all the things that you naturally feel. It's important to feel your feelings. And then, almost more important, it's important to let them go and to release them and move forward in your life. People come and go in your life for good reasons, for bad reasons, remember that people's behavior, who's the subject of that sentence? People's behavior. You are out of that. You're out of control of that. It's somebody else's behavior. They'll need to figure that out, not you. So you don't have to hold on to that. You can grow and learn from it and keep that in mind for next time, but allow yourself to heal. And it's not hard. You don't have to do any work. Healing isn't work. You just have
it's a huge release. I mean, it is a huge release.
Absolutely.
I mean, if you just let it go, and your family will be happy, or your kids, your spouse, whoever. The people who are around you are going to like being around you because you're not holding on to that.
Exactly.
Let's get to some of these emails.
Yeah, please.
It seems like, a lot of it's because we're having really hot weather.
Yes.
I know you have hot weather in New York as well, but in South Carolina, it's just horrible. So even for me, and I'm cold natured, but there's a lot about stress. And I remember, and it's fun the way people drive in hot weather. It's just, hot weather seems to bring on a lot. What can we do to release that? I know I was watching a guy driving down the road, and it's like he was just like mad at everybody. I mean, he was cutting people off and acting like they were cutting him off. Right. How do this is just a phenomenon. This is life. We have terrible weather sometimes.
So much of this goes back to what we were talking about last time. So if you didn't listen to us last time, I highly recommend you go back and listen to that because it was a great episode. But also, the thing is that you are only in control of you. And so somebody's cutting people off and okay, that person's having a bad day. That person is angry at the world. Let them, I hope that they are safe. But they don't have to affect you. You don't have to let that affect you. You don't have to let the weather affect you. Trust me, I don't like being in 98 degrees with, 85% humidity. That's not fun for me without, air conditioning and without, living in a New York apartment. It's hard to stay cool. And any time that we are uncomfortable, everything is heightened. We are more quick to anger. We're more quick because we're already uncomfortable. And so if that's what you're feeling and you don't like being so stressed out and you feel like the heat is making it worse, give yourself a little bit of grace, but also take a look and be like, I am acting out because I'm uncomfortable. And then try something. What can I do to make myself just a little bit more comfortable? I'm going to go get a nice cold glass of water. That's going to make my body feel better. I'm going to go get a cold towel and put it on my neck, or like get my hand wet and run it through my hair so that my hair doesn't feel as wet. Like whatever it is that you need to do to provide yourself with just a little bit of comfort, so that you can go get an ice cream cone. Do you know what I mean? Like do something that makes you feel a little bit more comfortable, that lightens that burden, because obviously there's nothing we can do about the heat. And so acknowledge it and realize that, okay, the heat is definitely affecting my mood, but I'm in control of my mood. So what can I do to make myself feel just a little bit better before I move forward, so that I don't bite my husband's head off, so that I don't go and cut people off on the street? Then remember that while that's the most responsible and amazing thing that you can do for yourself, remember that not everybody, in fact, most people aren't doing that. They aren't conscious enough to realize that it's the heat that's affecting them, that's making them angry. That, you know what I mean? And so they're literally like so many people in the world and in your life aren't consciously aware of their own feelings, of what's going on. And that's why I'm going to constantly talk about taking that deep breath, getting that little bit of space between what's going on around you and what's going on within you, becoming aware and taking that 50,000 foot view of what is really going on, and getting in touch with yourself. And you do that by taking that deep breath, and you get in touch with what's going on. And then you are consciously aware to make choices to keep you and take you out of that stress. Remembering that not everybody's going to do that. In fact, most people aren't. And then you get to choose who you interact with, how you respond to their behavior, remembering that it has nothing to do with you. That's the best advice I can give you, is to just stay focused and choose you, and choose your reactions, and choose what you do for yourself. Remembering that taking on that discomfort and that stress is a choice, and that you can choose
something. Also, going about natural ways. Let me tell you what my grandmother used to do. Okay, she loved gardening. She was constantly outside. So what she would do is she would come in periodically, get an ice cube. There are little things you can do for yourself.
Yes.
She would find an ice cube, and just on the pulse points, just rub that ice cube on her wrist or on her ankles. And she would say, okay, I'm ready to go back out again. That was the best attitude of anybody I ever knew.
Well, and that's the thing, is that was a choice. The other thing to remember is that your grandmother grew up in an age where there wasn't such thing as air conditioners. Right. When she was a kid, there weren't refrigerators. So the fact that she can go to a freezer and have a cube of ice, she's grateful for. Do you know what I mean?
She was happy.
Exactly. And so this could be contentious, but like, remember that, like, we are so spoiled. The fact that, like, because I was going to say, you know, if you are that miserable because of the heat, go to a movie. There's some really good movies out right now. Go to a movie. It's freezing in movie theaters. Go to the
isn't it though? We just went to, just go to the mall, hang out, you know, and meet people.
Right. Or just, you know, you're walking, you're getting some exercise, but you're in like the most frozen place possible. You don't have to pay for that AC bill, and you're just getting to a place where you're comfortable. And then remembering that tomorrow's a new day, that you're okay. Honestly, telling yourself that you're okay is so important. I don't care how uncomfortable you are. You're okay. I know it's hot. Guess what? You're okay. It's hot. There's nothing anybody can do to make that better for you. You're okay. Go and do something that makes you feel a little less uncomfortable. Only you are going to know what that is, whether it's getting that popsicle or ice cream cone, or going to the mall, or going to a movie, or jumping in a pool if you have access to one. Do you know what I mean? Like, you are in control. Control is the key word. Stay in control. When people are cutting you off and all of that, it's because they've allowed their discomfort or their anger or their emotions to take control.
Absolutely.
It's a human thing to do, so we're not going to judge. We're not going to judge ourselves when we do that, but we are going to start to be aware when we're doing it. and pull back and be like, whoa, I was letting my anger control me. I was letting my discomfort of this heat control me. That's not who I am. And I know that. I'm in control. What can I do to make myself feel a little bit better so that I'm not lashing out at the people around me? Because that's not who I am. That's not what I want. Nobody wants to do that. The last time you were so angry that you screamed at somebody, how did you feel? It doesn't feel good to be angry with people. It doesn't feel good to scream at people. I'll be honest with you. I've screamed at people and then moments later felt so stupid because I'm acting like a tantrum throwing child. You know what I mean? Like, and I'm too old to do that. And so then you feel bad and then you're embarrassed and then and it's just,
I would rather just, I don't like to feel embarrassed. I just really don't. I just really don't want to, that stops me. Let's go into a commercial break.
Yeah,
and we're going to be right back in just a few minutes.
Twin City Used Car Sales has been serving drivers in the Northeast Alabama area for years with a quality selection of late model used cars, SUVs, and pickup trucks. On top of our extensive selection and competitive prices, we offer professional auto financing services for used car buyers of all credit levels. Whether you've just begun your search or you're ready to secure your next vehicle, at Twin City Used Car Sales, you will drive away with the vehicle of your dreams. The sales and finance staff at Twin City Used Car Sales looks forward to serving you, and you can apply for financing online before your visit to our used dealership in Gadsden, Alabama. Check us out on the web at twincityusedcars.com or go by our location at 901 First Avenue, Gadsden, Alabama. We sincerely look forward to serving you.
You know, finding the right home isn't just about bedrooms and square footage. It's about comfort, security, and the feeling you get the moment you walk through the door. That's why so many families across Greenwood and the Lakelands area trust Jenny Ferguson with Keller Williams. And I'll tell you from personal experience, Jenny was my realtor, and she truly cares about her clients. Jenny takes the time to listen, to understand what matters most, and to guide you every step of the way, whether you're buying your first home, upgrading, or ready to sell. Because this isn't just a transaction, it's your life. With local knowledge, personal care, and a commitment to getting it right, Jenny Ferguson makes the process simple and even enjoyable. So if you're thinking about buying or selling, now's the time to make your move. Call Jenny Ferguson with Keller Williams in Greenwood today and take the next step toward a place you'll truly love coming home to. Donna's Designs offers a line of handmade memorial, wedding, and keepsake jewelry that launched back in 1970. I'm a self-trained jewelry designer, and I will work closely with you to create unique designs you can love and treasure for years to come. Whether that be flowers that were used in a funeral arrangement or stones you found on the beach at a memorable trip, call me at 256-659-4319, and let's think of the possibilities. Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Donna, and this is Julia, the Donna and Julia Show. We're talking about stay cool. Yes. But you know something? We're talking about hot weather. A lot of people gripe about cold weather. Some people even gripe about beautiful spring weather. Some people gripe about fall. Okay, so that just goes to show you, some people are just going to gripe no matter what. But 100%. Now things do feel a little bit more stressful when it is hot outside. I understand that. But let's just talk about this, because you've got quite a few messages here. Let's see.
Okay.
Okay, let's see. Here's a good during vacations. Okay, this time of the year. Okay, what are healthy ways to handle family disagreements during vacations?
Okay. So the thing about vacations is that you're stuck together, right? But there are still separate rooms. There are still places for you to go and cool down, to go and cool off. Mm-hmm. Depending on the type of family disagreements or, conflict. If we're talking about kids, obviously let's all take a deep breath. That way nobody's in trouble because we're all heightened. We need to come down to a place so that we all understand each other. Communication is so important. And we talked about this a lot in the last episode, as far as like, my perspective of our argument is going to be completely different than your perspective of our argument. And so what's important is for us to find a common ground. And when we're both heightened and angry, that's not going to happen. So let's go be angry. And once we've calmed down a little bit, let's come back and find out what's actually going on. Where is this coming from? Where's the disconnect? Where's the misunderstanding? Because I love you and I want to understand why you're upset. And then I can tell you my perspective of why I'm upset or whatever. And bottom line is that we can come to an understanding, we can come to a compromise so that neither of us are upset and we can move forward. Now, if we're talking about some of the other types of family discord that we've talked about before, as far as like, my aunt can never say a positive word about anybody, or I'm always being criticized, or we're on two different ends of the political spectrum and all they want to talk about is what's going on in the country. I think that that's where, let's pretend that was the thing. It was the political thing, right? And I would want to say to whoever it was, like, I'm not the only one who knows that this is uncomfortable. And I know you want me to see things your way. I want you to see things my way. But I love you. We're going to see things differently. And because you are so passionate about the things that you love, and I am so, and the things you believe, and I am so passionate about the things that I believe, I think it would be a good idea if we didn't discuss it. It's not important for us to discuss it. It's important for us to both understand what's going on, sure, and to have our own beliefs and to get to those places. But we don't need to bring that with us on vacation. Let's leave that to other people to think about while we're here. And you can still read your news and I'll still read my news and we'll be fine, but we don't have to talk about that. And I think that there's a level of understanding. To me, that's growing up. That is a grown-up conversation to have about, look, if you are that uncomfortable with your family because they always bring up politics, don't you think they know too that that you don't agree with them? Of course they know, because they see your reaction. So meet it before it becomes a thing and just say, I'm not going to want to talk about this. I would appreciate it if we could respect each other's opinions and beliefs and not talk about it. And then if it does get brought up, because trust me, I've been at parties where it's like, okay, we're not talking about this. And then people start talking about it because it can be at the forefront of a lot of people's mind. I leave the room. I will take a deep breath and be like, all right, I'm done. I mean, I'm not going to be a part of this. I've already said that I don't want to talk about this. So I'm going to leave the room. I'm going to go to the bathroom. I'm going to go to the kitchen. I'm going to go for a walk outside. I'm going to leave the conversation. Remember that your job, being in control of your life, even though you've got others to take care of as well, your job is to protect your peace. Because if your peace is disrupted, that's when you're going to act out. That's when emotions start to take over, because you are losing control of that peace of mind, that whole feeling. It can feel more stressful. Again, I think stress is a choice, because you're in tighter spaces, because you're not at home, all those things. But there's always a bathroom. There's always a kitchen. There's always leaving the room. And it is not disrespectful to say, we've already talked about this. I am not comfortable in these conversations. You can continue. I'm going to go over here. Now, when conversations are happening in a larger setting, when you're not a part of it, you can just leave and nobody cares. But if it's a one-on-one thing, you can say, you know what? I need you to respect my request. I don't want to talk about this. And so I'm going to go over here, or I'm going to go for a little walk, or I'm going to run to the bathroom so that you can finish your thoughts and we can start somewhere else when I get back. Like, those are very adult things. I'm not insulting anybody. I'm not telling you you're wrong. I'm not flying off the handle about, why do you always have to do this? Here's the thing. They always have to do it because it's habit, because they always have, because no one has ever asked them not to. And so it might take a few times for you to be like, oh, wait, we're not going to talk about this. And one thing I just want to mention, sometimes it feels, I'm going to say exhausting, to always be the one to take the high road.
Yeah.
But I want to tell you that it's far less exhausting to take the high road than it is to be angry, that it is to harbor frustration and bitterness and disappointment with your family, with the people that you love. Mm-hmm. And so start by leaving. Start, not like leaving them to have the rest of the vacation, but like leave the room, leave the conversation, start by protecting yourself. And then you'll have that perspective of, okay, I know you don't feel like you should have to be the one to leave all the time, but you're the one that is being responsible for the fact that you're feeling uncomfortable and you don't want to feel uncomfortable on vacation. So therefore, you are the one that has to stop the conversation from happening. And it will be worth it, because now, first of all, you're creating awareness in a relationship that is important to you. You're creating awareness about your feelings and who and what you are. And you're creating, you're protecting yourself, and you're like, that is what's most important. And hopefully they would do that too, So,
well, let me tell you something. Okay, so you can't have a more diverse marriage than someone who is an Alabama fan and the other one is the Auburn fan. You can't have a more diverse marriage than that one. Okay, so this is the way Phil and I handle it. Okay, now we still would be for the state winning. Okay, so we're not going to be such fans that I would see Alabama having the chance to be national championship, and I would go, no, I'm going to be for the other team. Now, I have family who are like that. They would say, and I would even say, even if that means that they're playing Notre Dame, you're actually going to be for Notre Dame instead of Auburn. They would say, yeah. And I would go, okay, then that's your choice. You can do that. But this is how Phil and I handle it. Okay, so before the game, we're going to have these little snide remarks and all the stuff that we're going to make it. That's just, and it's fun because we love doing this.
Right.
Okay, so we're going to have those remarks. Well, some people might look in the window and think, my God, are they going to get a divorce over this? So, no, we just have, and just as soon as the game is over, you'd think we're mad at each other. As soon as the game is over, regardless of who wins, we go, let's go get a pizza, okay?
Yeah. Let's go find some neutral ground. Absolutely. Yeah. And that's the thing, when sports and stuff like that, you have to appreciate
am I going to lose a marriage over a sports team?
Hard over my team, and I know they're going to win, and they lose. I got to respect the other team because they played better than my team, and my team's incredible. So I got to respect the other team. But so many people don't approach life that way, where it's like having an observation of the whole picture. They're so in themselves, and this is sports or not sports, that they can't see how their behavior is affecting other people. Mm-hmm. And so that's why it's so important to communicate with them and say, hold up a second. We're not seeing eye to eye here, and that's okay. You're entitled to you. But because you're so passionate about something that is so kind of contrary to me, it's starting to feel offensive. So can we just not talk about this?
Here's the way I look at it. If something happened to the Auburn football team, and they were no longer in existence, would the world still run? Yes. If something happened to conservatives as a whole, if something happened to liberals as a whole, would the world keep going? Mm-hmm.
Yes. And that's where we come back to, you're okay. I know it feels miserable because you didn't get your way, or your team didn't win, or it's too freaking hot outside. But ultimately, you're okay. And you're going to get through this. And we can do it together. But we can't do it together if we are trying to keep our defenses up.
We're going to have to call it a day, but I've got to say this. I can live with anything except cold weather. I can't do cold.
Yes, you can. Yes, you can.
No, I
You
can't.
can live with everything.
No,
you might not like it, but you'd be okay.
Well, I've lived for 67 years in cold weather. I think I can do another 67. Yeah. There you go. Julia, thank you so much for being on the show with me. It's always a pleasure.
Thank you.
People just listen to this episode. If you have someone who is just, I'm just being, I'm right and everybody else is wrong, have them watch this, okay? I think it'll make them feel better, and they'll be able to get along with other people. But thank you so much, Julia, for being with me on the show. And thank you guys so much for watching. It's also awesome that you do. Continue sending email. I promise we're going to get to more of these next time, okay? Donna at donnasedge.com. Donna at donnasedge.com. Thank you for being with me.
Bye. Bye-bye. Be well.